Wendy, thank you very much for the introduction. Uh, there's a lot of information there, and unfortunately, I haven't been able to do any baseball games in the past several months or any hockey games. But when we get back to life as pre-COVID allowed us to, I will be getting back to that as well. Anyway, I wanted to first off say thank you very much, Remy, for having invited me. I'm very honored to be a speaker at the summit. And I also want to say what an excellent panel discussion that was leading up to this or prior to me here. Excellent speakers, Alan, fantastic, Nicole, Femi, Roshanda, Janine, all excellent conversations, excellent questions, presentations, and great insights. All of you come from very reputable institutions, which brings a great deal of validity to the comments and the insights that you made. As Wendy stated, I am the president and CEO of the World Trade Center Atlanta. We are part of the Global World Trade Centers Association, headquartered in New York. We have over 330 centers strategically located around the world. We are literally the world's largest trade and investment organization, given that we have approximately 330 World Trade Centers. And while the African market is still, while it's still growing, it's still a growing market, we already have approximately 31 centers both in Africa and the Middle East. In the sub-Saharan Africa, we have centers in Angola, Ghana, Kenya, 2 of them in Nigeria. I know that there is an effort to open one in Liberia, and there are interests of opening additional ones. There's one off of the southeast coast of Africa in Madagascar. We have several in Northern Africa, Algeria, Egypt, Morocco, Tunisia, Libya, and Cape Verde off the coast of West Africa. And in the Middle East, we have locations, we have centers in Bahrain, Iraq, Jordan, Lebanon, Oman, Palestine, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Syria, the UAE, and Yemen. So we clearly are very much have a presence in that African Middle East region, but there's still a great deal of opportunity for growth. Most of the trade centers around the world are trade services focused. There are some that are real estate focused, but the vast majority are trade services focused. And as a result, each of those trade centers can be viewed and utilized as a gateway to that specific market, as well as the regional market. Example, of course, the World Trade Center Atlanta is well positioned and actively connected in the state of Georgia, but we're also recognized as a gateway to the southeastern United States and from the southeastern United States to the world. Each World Trade Center is also well connected to local resources, to local agencies, investment solutions, legal solutions, trade organizations. Example here in Atlanta, we have 30 some binational chambers of commerce. We have 54 local chambers of commerce. We have 12 global organizations, 70 honorary and career consulates, representing strategic markets all around the world. So it's important, and when I mention all of these, because the World Trade Center organization, and I'm speaking specifically to the technical partners at the moment, it's extremely important to work with very trusted and connected brands. and yes, the speakers that we had on the panel prior to me here, they do work for very reputable and very well-known brands as well. It sounded like a few of them may be more for very much more established uh, companies or enterprises. The World Trade Center organization, tends to focus and work more with the small to small mid-size enterprises. We don't necessarily work with the larger enterprises. They tend to go to the Exim Bank and some of those larger Department of Commerce, large U.S. Department of Commerce solutions or agencies. All of the World Trade Centers, though, I have to say, around the world, do have very, very strong relationships with offices, commerce offices that promote trade initiatives, offering incentives and opportunities of partnering and facilitating investments. This is extremely important. The World Trade Center Atlanta is one of, and the World Trade Centers Association is one of the most recognized and trusted brands and connected brands that focuses and promotes trade and investment around the world, as I mentioned earlier. The World Trade Center Atlanta, we partner with the Georgia Department of Economic Development, the Small Business Administration, the Small Business Development Centers, the U.S. Department of Commerce, the binational chambers, the 70 consulates, many of which have dedicated trade offices, uh, and all of which, of course, are, as was mentioned, as a result of very strong relationships that we have developed over the past 38 years that we've been in existence here. Uh, it's also important that I note here that when working with a very well-known brand, such as the World Trade Center, we not only promote trade and investment, but we offer the solutions and the opportunities to learn as well through our programming. In addition to our events that we hold, and in addition to many of the trade centers events around the world that they hold that talk about their markets, or they talk about doing business with foreign markets, many of them also have educational opportunities. The World Trade Center Atlanta is launching the World Trade Center Atlanta Academy, which this month, which will be providing an end-to-end practical program that helps executives and entrepreneurs through the process of launching or expanding into a foreign market, whether that's overseas from the US to an overseas market, or from an overseas market into the US. And we will also, in addition to providing that practical knowledge, because our instructors are not theoretical educational professors, but rather they are experienced corporate executives uh, that will be able to give you the insights of what's worked and what hasn't worked, and how best to the different options, the 6 different options of expanding into a new market, and which one provides the least amount of risk versus the greatest amount of risk, but also the greatest amount of control. But we will also be providing part of the programming mentors, executive mentors that can help you and guide you along the process and introduce you to the right resources that you need in making those decisions to expand into a new market. Um, we're also expanding our trade services uh, solution offerings, especially with the focus in Africa. Because of my educational background and my focus in sub-Saharan Africa and my interest in sub-Saharan Africa, I want to bring a greater focus of the World Trade Center Atlanta on the African continent. And we are working as a result with trade services a trade services consulting firm and partnering with them that are they are very well established in entering into quite a number of the African markets. We're also partnering with Tempest FX to offer foreign exchange solutions far more favorable than your traditional banking solutions. So you end up getting to keep more of your payment, your overseas payments in your bank account as opposed to paying that to a traditional bank. And we also have on our board of directors the honorary, or sorry, the honorary consul general of Liberia, Cynthia Blandford. She not only focuses and represents Liberia, but she is well connected with all of the representatives here in Atlanta that represent their markets, their respective markets in Africa. And she is, and I am also on the Nigerian board. So I have those connections throughout Africa as a result of our business partnerships, our board representation, and then my board position on the Nigerian American International Chamber. As was stated, our mission, of course, is to bring executives and entrepreneurs and markets together. I want to move now to a little bit of the accessing capital, and I cannot overemphasize and reiterate a lot of what the speakers said, especially Alan, and the fact that there is difficulty in accessing capital. And yes, the resources of the speakers that we had are excellent resources, and they are spot on when they stated that it is extremely important to be prepared. And I'll touch on what I mean by being prepared as well in a few minutes here. But I think it's also important to think outside the box and at some of the less traditional financing paths. An example, one of our members of the World Trade Center Atlanta, we're working very closely with them in identifying investment opportunities. They are extremely interested in the African market and investing in projects and initiatives in Africa. Having said that, though, and I want to go back to a number of the comments that were made in the panel discussion. I cannot emphasize enough the importance of being prepared, having your strategy plan, having your business plan, having your financials in place, having your pro forma documents in place, your pro forma statements in place. Whether you are interested in coming into the US market, or you're interested in expanding your company from the US market into the African market, or you are interested in just funding investments in the African market, you have to be prepared. You have to come ready to be able to speak about your products, be the product specs, your regulations. Did you guys just lose me? Am I still here? We're okay, okay. You had to be familiar with the regulations, the market regulations, whether it's the regulations here in the US or the regulations in that specific market that you're expanding into. Be aware of your pricing. And if you have a product that you're wanting to either bring in, export into the African market or import from the African market into the US market, understand your pricing. You're wanting to get into the supply chain that's already established. And if you're trying to get into an established supply chain, you have to come in with very favorable pricing strategy and at least a 1 to 2 year favorable pricing strategy that gets you into that supply chain. Once you're in the supply chain, then you can raise those prices back up again. You have to understand your packaging, your target markets, not only who your customers are, but who are your distributors going to be? Who do you want to work with? Um, do the research and the homework, uh, but also then think beyond traditional capital sources. Look at the private equity opportunities, the venture capital firms, and also the family offices. Family offices are a little known or not as widely known source of capital, funding capital, and they are, as the term connotes, they're run by a very small group, and it is uh, they are managing the highest net worth individuals funds around the world, and for these very wealthy families. So don't overlook them. Don't overlook some of the resources such as the World Trade Centers organization for perhaps opportunities or connections that they have, because we bring we bring markets and executives and entrepreneurs together. So if we do not do the funding and we don't do the capital raising, however, we may have the connections and be able to make an introduction. So that is extremely important. And as Alan stated, it's extremely important to have a partner working with you through this process. So you have to be prepared to spend some money up front to help with that strategy and positioning your product for that specific market. I I I have seen this in the past where especially uh, entrepreneurs or businesses in foreign markets wanting to enter the U.S. market, and they contract or hire a middleman to work on commission and to take their product and launch it here in the U.S. market. And no one will speak, no distributor, no end buyer will speak to anybody that doesn't come prepared. And if you're expecting to uh, have that middleman know all the information about your product and all the specs about the product and the packaging and the shipping and the logistics and everything, without spending that money up front to get the the documents and the package, when I say the package, the presentation package in place and ready to approach those either investors, distributors, buyers, you will not be taken seriously. And that is extremely important to be recognized and acknowledged as a serious player in the market. Let me reiterate once again, come prepared, be prepared, uh, think outside the box, spend some initial funds up front to help and partner with an organization that can help you strategize and position your product and enter the market that you're wanting to enter, whether it's here or there. We know each of us as leads in our as uh, uh, business people, we know our own business, we know our own products, but we may not necessarily know the best way of entering into a new market. And the best way is to partner with another organization that does have those skills and that knowledge of positioning you and your products into that new market. And if there are any questions, I'm more than happy to take some questions now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sutherland. My name is Lara Ebiona from Baobab Consulting, and I will be coordinating the Q&A. So I think we're still waiting for some questions to come in. So as we're waiting, I will ask a question of my own. So just continuing on the topic of partnerships, I wanted to ask, does WTC Atlanta have any existing partnerships with any African diaspora organizations beyond the Legacy Premier Foundation to boost business connections between those in the diaspora and those on the continent?
Absolutely. So as I mentioned, we have on our board of directors the Honorary Consul General of Liberia. She is extremely well connected across the US and very active with the Liberian consulate in Washington, DC. And we are, we have a bilateral agreement with the Liberian Association of Metropolitan Atlanta. It's about 25,000 members strong, LAMA, many of which are business executives or business people. We are well connected with the Nigerian Chamber of Commerce, the Nigerian Business Forum. I have spoken at the Nigerian Business Forum earlier this year before the lockdown. I was in Tampa speaking there. And this is my focus. This is my kind of my platform, is to expand our work with and opportunities to engage African markets.
Yes, excellent. Thank you for that. So also to ask, so are there any, so for young entrepreneurs, for those seeking to work with WTC, what would you recommend to be their first steps?
When working with any of the World Trade Centers around the world, for the most part, to engage a World Trade Center services, you have to be a member. Some World Trade Centers, the membership is higher than others. We offer a very low membership, an individual executive membership of $225 annually. That's a very low threshold for the most part. We offer then a lot of benefits as a result of that. There is free access to our events, discount with the World Trade Center Atlanta Academy, a 15% discount on the pricing. There are discounts for expat services, and we are offering the opportunity for the trade services. We give preferred pricing for trade services. If you don't, or if you are not a member with the World Trade Center Atlanta, and you want to engage the World Trade Center Atlanta or any of the other World Trade Centers, and we work very closely with all of the other World Trade Centers. So we make these introductions, and then we work together and work with you in working with those other World Trade Centers. If you do not want to become a member of the World Trade Center Atlanta, then the prices tend to be more expensive.
Okay.
So usually it's best to be a member. You get all those benefits as part of it for the membership.
Okay, great. Thank you. So we have a couple of questions, and before I get to those, so I have dropped the link for the World Trade Center Academy into the chat. So for those that have any interest and want to sign up, you can keep an eye on that.
Let me just look at that.
Just to confirm it's.
Yes, that's
it. Okay.
So there isn't much information on that. It is being built out. At the moment, it's under construction. We are working with Northeastern University to do a redesign of our website. And the first two pages are the homepage and the Academy page. We should start getting a lot of the program content, descriptive content up on that Academy page soon, hopefully within the next week. and then it's
Okay.
going to be tweaked and everything as well.
All
But
right.
the program is a there are 4 modules focusing on strategy, economics, the corporate entity, which is legal, HR, and finance. And then the 4th module is operations. And then we're also going to do some bolt-on courses to fill in some gaps when it comes to international business process improvement, that kind of stuff. But that will be our initial track, or our initial program, is those 4 modules. And the 4 modules, each module can be purchased individually or the whole program collectively at a discount. And then you still get your 15% discount.
Okay, great. Thanks so much for that. So just wanted to just to check with Dr. Remy, do we have time to take one more question, or should we start to transition to the next panel?
You can take a quick question so we keep on to time. Make it very quick.
Okay, great. So we have, so there's one question from Lorian Hangala, and that is, what specific help can we expect from you to access opportunities the WTC Atlanta has to offer? This is for countries who do not yet partner with you. And Lorian is from Zambia. So for non-partner country, for those from non-partner countries, how would they best take advantage?
So I think the first question is, do you already have products? And are you wanting to come from Zambia into the US market? Is that the reason for the question?
Yes, that's my understanding.
Okay, so we can, I can send a questionnaire that she can fill out, and that will then tell us her readiness or her preparedness. We will then share that with the this consulting firm that we're working with that provides trade services, and that is very well connected and entrenched into doing business in Africa. And then also bringing products from Africa into the United States. So we want to understand first the company's readiness or preparedness, and then depending on what the results are from that or the responses are from that questionnaire, we can then determine where are we in the process, or where is she in the process, and then what would the next steps need to be in order to get you prepared to present you to the right organization or buyers or distribution network.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you so much. So I believe we are now ready to transition to our next panel. So thank you so much, Mr. Sutherland. That was a very excellent, informative lecture, and I think many of us on the call are looking forward to working with WTC Atlanta.
Laura, thank you very much. If anybody has any questions, always feel free to reach out to me as well at max@wtcatlanta.com. And I can help as well. I'll try and answer. All right. Thank you very much. And Remy, thank you again.